Hello everyone, welcome back to Football Chuggu Podcast. I'm your host, Pearse McLaughlin. Solo one today. Thomas Sterling is not available and Tom McLaughlin's also not available. So just a short, sweet, brief one. In the process of moving house and working and preparing for my wedding, which is next Saturday. So there will be a wee hiatus, obviously, from next week onwards. For a few weeks, it will not be doing the podcast because, obviously, for obvious reasons, I'm the one that edits and posts and does the majority of the podcast. But before, we'll start as always with obviously the English Premier League, bit about Scottish Premiership results, and obviously the drama of the weekend, which I'm sure we'll uncover later on in the podcast. Obviously, the top of the table clash between Celtic and Hearts and the impact it's had on the league. So just start as always with the English Premier League results. Yep, so on Saturday, the 24th of January, we had West Ham 3, Sunderland 1. Sunday, 25th of January, we had Burnley 2, Tottenham 2, Fulham 2, Brighton 1, Manchester City 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, AFC Bournemouth 3, Liverpool 2, Brentford 0, Nottingham Forest 2, Crystal Palace 1, Chelsea 3, Newcastle United 0, Aston Villa 2. And then Monday, the 26th of January, Arsenal 2, Manchester United 0, Manchester United 3, sorry. And then Tuesday, the 27th, which is Everton 1, Leeds United 1. So, in terms of the standard result for me, I think you've only got one place to start and one place to go, and that is obviously the top of the table clash, which obviously is a massive uh, outcome in the title race, and obviously it's Arsenal losing by 3 goals to 2 at the Emirates, their first home defeat of the season, and Michael Carrick's following up their terrific win against Manchester City at home last week. Now beating Arsenal, so he's beaten the top two in his first two games into him charge of Manchester United, the former Manchester United midfielder and legend that he is. And for me, it was obviously just it's just a bit of class in terms of the way he's got him playing. Because obviously Arsenal, as we know, they're very strong from set pieces, um, and obviously they're very defensively solid. But some of the play that the Man United done, and some of the goals, especially Patrick Drogba's goal from the edge of the box, the half volley, rocketed. It reminds me of Patrice Evra against Bayern Munich during I think it was the 13-14 season under David Moyes, one of his last games. For me, that was an unbelievable strike. But I just wanted to touch on in this game, obviously, mention Arsenal. So the top goal scorers this season for Arsenal is Victor Gokres, 5 goals, Trossard, 5 goals, own goals, 4, Eberechi Eze, 4, Mika Marino, 4, Declan Rice, 4, Bukayo Saka, 4. And then Arsenal forwards in general, Bukayo Saka, 0 goals in his last 13 appearances in all competitions. Victor Gokres, 0 non-penalty goals in his last 11 Premier League appearances. Gabriel Martinelli, 0 goals in his last 13 Premier League appearances. Noni Madueke, 0 goals in his last 25 Premier League appearances. Leandro Trossard, 1 goal in his last 11 appearances in all competitions. So for me, although Arsenal have been brilliant in terms of the top league, the stats kind of show that they haven't been that great. Because if they're relying on own goals and set pieces and the defenders are their top goal scorers as well, it's a bit worrying for me. I think the attacking players are massively underperforming, and I think the Arsenal players get massively overhyped as well. And they think they're playing this free flowing football, but obviously Arteta was a midfielder for Arsenal, Barcelona, Rangers back in the day as well, and he was a technically gifted midfielder, but the way he's got them playing is like prime Stoke City, but with a bigger budget. And I think that the fact is the way Man United played in the game, 1-2 touch, interlinking play, and really it was like the way how football should be played. And I think if Arteta was English, he'd be getting chastised for the way he's playing. Like for example, Sean Dyche get chastised for being Sam Allardyce for being like Route One defensively solid football. But I think if you've got a Spanish passport, then it's okay. But I think that Arsenal have always been under obviously Arsene Wenger, silky, free flowing football, but it's far from the truth. And the fact is, if Arsenal have been in nearly men for the last 2, 3 seasons, and I think they're in the prime position obviously to win league this year. But Man United's results cannot go unnoticed because they've been terrific under Michael Carrick, and who knows if he continues this form. But he could have faced two harder first games as a manager, and now obviously it's opened the title race wide open because now it's down to 4 points, Man City and Aston Villa right behind them. And they've capitalised on that. So I think it's obviously Man City and Arsenal's um, title race to decide. But I think Arsenal's forwards had to be mentioned that I don't think they've been performing well enough. Um, and yeah, so that was a standard result for me. So now move on to the Scottish Premiership results. So on Sunday the 25th of January, we had Aberdeen 6, Livingston 2. Dun United and St Mirren was postponed. Falkirk 4, Hibernian 1. Motherwell 4, Kilmarnock 0. And then Monday, the 26th of January, was Hearts 2, Celtic 2, Rangers 3, Dundee FC 0. So obviously we've got to touch on the stand-up game, which was obviously Hearts 2, Celtic 2. Um, Top of the table clash, first versus second. Hearts obviously beating Celtic twice this season, home and away, and then they also beat Rangers home and away as well. And I think if Celtic lost the game at the weekend, the gap would have went to 9 points. But the game finished two each. Celtic down to 10 men for the last 30 minutes of the game, and that's the sending off has caused extreme controversy. Whereas Celtic have actually released a statement, just a short statement, but saying that they will appeal the decision of the red card. So the statement reads: "We can confirm that Celtic Football Club will be submitting an appeal to the SFA in relation to the red card imposed on Austin Trusty following the intervention of VAR during Sunday's match at Tynecastle." So let's touch on that decision. For me, never a red card. There was players covering. I think the striker Kabori was simulating. He kicks Trusty's leg, moves his leg back up in an unnatural position of movement. He was diving around all game, and I think it was one of those tactics that Hearts have been doing. That they try to make it a battle in the game. But for me, he's going away from goal. It was not a goal score opportunity. So for me, a yellow card was the correct decision by the referee on field. And I think the fact is that John Beaton and VAR recommended it for a red just shows you how poor the officiating in Scotland is. Um, but it had a massive outcome in the game because at the time Celtic were 2-1 up, and backs to the wall away from home, and I think it's just inviting pressure. And Celtic then had to reshuffle the back four, take off an attacking player just to try cling on to get any sort of result. But for me, in the game itself, I thought the new standout signing was Celtic's new signing, Thomas Kivakara, the Polish striker. He had an impressive debut, considering he'd been the country a matter of 3 days. Got an assist in the game, showed nice touches in that link-up play. Don't think he really had many shots, but it was more of it wasn't really the best game for him because obviously the match of football itself wasn't very good in terms of a spectacle. Because it was just like Route One football, just the amount of times the ball was turned over to the opposition, and the ball was in the air. There was little time the ball was actually on the deck, and people actually try to play football. Um, it was a battle, like you saying, and like, just wasn't a great spectacle. I think the moments of quality in the game were Benjamin Nygren's goal in the first half, the free kick, I think within the first 5 minutes, and that was obviously an amazing start in the game. That was Celtic's first free kick goal in 5 years since 2021, which was David Turnbull was the last player to score free kick for Celtic, and long gone are the days where Celtic used to have players like Nakamura, bending one in against Van der Sar, Sean Maloney with his technique, Lubo Moravcik back in the day as well, Henrik Larsson, Alan Thompson, the calibre of players that they had in terms of set piece specialists, Paul Hartley, Barry Robson as well. Um, it just shows you like the quality of the drop off. Because set piece is obviously a massive part of the game, and I think if you've got a set piece specialist, um, gives you an extra bow to extra string to your bow. But in terms of the game, obviously massive. The result is massive in terms of for Hearts because they came from behind twice. Um, Two set pieces, no surprise there. First ahead at the back post, shoot Finlay. I think it's his fifth goal of the season, fifth league goal of the season. Such a threat, him and Halkett at the back post. Um, and then obviously they get a goal, an equaliser late on. Second phase from a free kick. Just, but I think obviously that Schmeichel had two unbelievable saves. One for the first one for Austin Trusty's mistake at the back. Tried to do a back pass to Schmeichel and get his feet all modelled up and just passed it to Kizaridis. And he was one on with the keeper. And Schmeichel spreads himself well, gets a big boot out, saves it. Unbelievable save. And then Kizaridis again had another chance where he's took too long and Liam Scales has done a tremendous sliding block to block the shot. And then Braga from close range, and Schmeichel another terrific save. So he made three. So in the end of the game, Hearts could have won the game with the clear cut chances that they had, but the little moments that Celtic had in the game, they scored the qualities. They were very clinical. Um, but it was one of those ones where like, I didn't think Hearts played great. I thought Celtic were the better team, but Hearts after 10 men they were just bombarding the box, and Celtic were just defending. Um, and a ricochet and Braga equalises right at the end. But I think obviously Hearts, it's a point's better for Hearts, but obviously when you get to 10 men, Celtic the way Celtic did, I think it's just a must not lose at that point. And now the lead is now still 6 points between Hearts and Celtic, but Celtic have now dropped down to third and Rangers have overtook them, and Rangers are now 2 points above, and Rangers only 4 points behind Hearts, so the title race is wide open. It's a three-horse race, and like I said last week's podcast, it's going to go right down to the wire. And Rangers getting a comfortable win at the weekend, and just plodding on nicely. And Danny Rose' side just keeps going from strength to strength, just winning, and that's maybe not playing the best football, but winning is a good thing to do, even if you're not playing well, because when you start playing well, they're going to start blowing teams away. But like you said, Celtic, Hearts, and Rangers, it's going to be interchanging. I don't think Hearts will run away with it. I think the window's still open, still a few more days left for all three sides to strengthen. I think Celtic need to strengthen the most. There's clear holes in the squad, and obviously there's a lot made of the Hearts and long term injuries. Oh, no long term injuries, but injuries at the moment. At the weekend there, the Shankland, Baningame suspended, Devlin injured, um, a spine in the team. But obviously Celtic have had horrendous time injuries this season. Alison Johnson out for a very long time. Jota, Carter Vickers out for the season. Just to name a few. Callum Osman's out. Ian Acho's still not fully fit. So the squad is weakened, and obviously Kieran Tierney went off injured as well, and then Sirachi, the backup left back, is also injured as well. So worrying times for Celtic. They need strength, they need numbers. It's not just about making numbers. They need quality in the building, and they've only had two signings: a lone right back, Araujo, who for me from Bournemouth looks a decent player, and then obviously they got Kavakara up front, who loan to buy, and he looks. The first game as it goes, he looks like really good potential in terms of pacey, strong, good link up play. Um, and I'm sure he'll come good for Celtic. But yeah, that was a standout result, and that was a standout incidents in the game. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. So just reacting to the English Premier League and Scottish Premiership results. Um, until next time, I'll be Pearse McLaughlin. Um, and we'll hopefully we'll have the podcast next week, and then we'll take a 2 week hiatus while I'm on my honeymoon. So we'll get it probably done Monday next week. So keep your eyes peeled and posted, and so you'll catch our Football Chuggu Podcast on YouTube, on the Football Chuggu website and all other available streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, it's there. Until next time, I've been Pearse McLaughlin. Bye bye.